The following is a paid advertisement. The views expressed are the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
Put the power back in your hands. This is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
Welcome to Behind the Law and happy weekend to you. Can you imagine we're kicking off season 10 of this program, first show of the year, which is a little bit scary if you think about it. Michaela Nichols joins me as always, my beautiful co-host. You were 15 when I started the show.
Yeah, I won't say how old you were.
Scary on so many different levels. How are you today?
I'm great.
Are you excited about this season?
I am, as always.
And what we're here to do every single week is to tell you what's really going on behind the law without you having to go into a law firm and pay a lot of money. We tell you what's really going on down in the trenches. Now, Michaela is not a lawyer. You're here to ask the questions that the people at home may have that I might know, but you don't.
Yeah, it's my job, so I'm here.
You hate lawyers, don't you? Be honest.
No.
Thank you.
Hate is a strong word.
But sometimes she yells at me and says, "Oh, you're just being a lawyer." And that's why I think you might hate lawyers.
No, they're great.
Good. I don't hate lawyers. Lawyers are good, but we are here right now live to answer your questions. The phone number's on the screen, 321-282-1055. Great show ahead as Behind the Law continues. Does credit card debt have you spinning out of control? You are not helpless. At Attorneys Justin Clark and Associates, our goal is to lower or even eliminate your credit card debt. Call me today or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life. Welcome back to the show. Let's get right to it. I own a law firm, as you probably know. I'm seeing so many people coming into my office over the last year and a half, really, complaining about the roofing company. At the end of the day, here's what happens in this state. We have a lot of people, companies from out of state. When we have a storm here, they come in, they knock on your door, and they say, "Oh, we're going to get you a free roof." Turns out they take your money, they get an assignment of benefits, and then they just leave town, leaving you with a hole in your roof, leaving you with leaking in your kitchen throughout your house. It's a very scary thing. Let me tell you something. When it comes to contracting, when you need a new roof, when you have a hole in your roof, this is one of the more important decisions you're ever going to make when it comes to your house. I don't want to see you being one of the clients that's coming into my law firm. There are things that you can do to make sure that you choose the right roofing company. I don't know who better to ask than our good buddies, Corey, Justin, Universal Roofing Contracting. How are you guys?
Good to see you again.
Corey, I got to apologize yet again. We came in here, we have a board with the names of the guests on, and the first time you came on our other show, Best of Central Florida, we called you what? What was the name?
It was Nick.
Nick. That was you.
You traumatized him.
But who said Nick, me or her?
I think it was
It was him.
I think it was
No, it was me. It was her.
Twice, actually.
Who was it?
It was you. Don't remember.
Anyway, on the board today, we had your name misspelled. I don't know what's going on. If I were you, I don't know if I'd be on the show again.
I've been called all sorts of things, so however you want to spell my name, it's all good. No,
so good to see you.
I'm glad to be back.
It is always a pleasure to see you both. We enjoy our time together. But it's true. When we have a storm come through this state, we have companies from out of state who probably aren't even licensed here. Like, oh, I'm going to put a new roof on. Don't worry. We'll pay the deductible and everything. Make sure you get a free roof. This happens. This is real.
It is. It's a gold rush. Whenever there's a storm environment, whenever there's a hurricane or a bad hailstorm, it just invites that kind of a practice into our own backyards, our own markets. And they do. They know the shady ways to take advantage of that with people that just aren't savvy enough to know what's being presented to them on the front end.
Yeah. I'm a little bit fearful right now because the insurance industry is going through some major changes, as we know. And I think that we have bred a society here in Florida that's you can always get a free roof. Always, pretend like there was hail someday, and people are just relying right now on let's go get a free roof. And what happens oftentimes is you get mired in this litigation, and a year, 2 years goes by, and then ultimately the insurance company doesn't pay, or you have a public adjuster, they get paid, and there's just not enough money to fix the roof. I think it's important that we caution people that when you have a roof problem, it's not all about getting this free roof. I mean, there are times and programs that I know you guys have where there's no interest. You pay over time, where maybe it's not time for a free roof. Maybe it's time to get the right roof to protect our house.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, the blue tarp syndrome is what we call it. I mean, you see those out there sitting on roofs for a year at a time because they're getting drugged through the mud. With these kind of situations, when we approach a situation like this, we're just going to give an honest assessment. Is there life left in the roof? Is there truly damage? The problem with the door knocking is they're just telling everybody, hey, we can get you a free roof, and regardless of whether they have damage or not. So, we get up, we photograph the damage, we explain the process to them. we're not having them sign an AOB or any shady documents or anything like that. We simply work through the process with the insurance company based on the fact that they truly do have storm damage. If they don't, there's plenty of times that we tell them, you know, hey, you've got 5 years left on your roof, you know, or you know, whatever the case may be, or maybe it's just a repair.
Yeah,
too,
I mean, I think right now, if you have noticed any leaking in your house, or you just want to check on your roof because it's a little bit older, give these guys a call, because they're going to come out. They're going to sit at your kitchen table with you and really evaluate your roof, see what's going on, see what we need to do, and let me tell you something. Sometimes it's better to pay the $15,000 or the $20,000 over time. Sometimes no interest. They have great programs to make sure that you're not ruining your house. When you have a leak, that tarp is, I guess it's helpful a little bit, but you have a leak in your house. You are ruining your house, and you don't have to do that. Call the phone number on the screen right now, 321-282-1055. I'll connect you with Universal Roofing Contracting right now. And the AOB, we were just talking about that, and I think a lot of people at home don't understand what
I don't know what that is.
A lot of people on the stage and at home don't know what that is, but that's what you're here for, and I like that. And there's no reason you should know what an assignment of benefits really is. No reason you should know that. What is it?
So an assignment of benefits has been a document that's been used by contractors for the last decade. It's an assignment of benefits. You're literally signing all of your rights to your claim and your policy over to the contractor. And that right there is what opens the door for those shady contractors to do anything and everything they can to hold you hostage and the insurance company hostage, and kind of take the legal rights away from you to do anything to your own roof. So anytime those are presented to you right at the front door, oftentimes it's before the roof's even been inspected, you know there's an angle there being played by a contractor, and it's going to serve their agenda a lot more than it's going to serve yours. So, and the laws are changing. I mean, AOBs are being rewritten almost every year, and they're kind of getting to the bottom of it and not allowing that leverage in our practice anymore.
Yeah. Put ourselves right now in the shoes of you at home, right? Someone who's not a roofer, they're not a lawyer. They haven't been through this. All they know is they own a house. It's their biggest asset. It's their biggest investment. And literally they see leaking coming through their ceiling. That's a scary time for a homeowner. They don't necessarily know who to call. I mean, if you're watching this show, they're going to call you. But what is something to look out for? When I make that first call to a roofing company, they show up at my house. What are some things I should be looking for to see if they're legit or not legit?
Yeah, first is that they show up to your house.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, and you know, and on time and doing what they say they're going to do. But there's a multitude of roofing companies that do what they call satellite estimates. You know, they don't even come. They're not really sure what they're dealing with. They're just looking at it from, you know, a satellite, measuring the roof, and then giving you a piece of paper or an email, and that's what they're going to sell the roof for. But they really don't understand if there's any current problems, if there's, you know, a design flaw in the roof, if there's something bigger that they need to address, what type of ventilation, all those kind of things. So, you know, one of the things we do is we show up when we're supposed to show up. You mentioned the kitchen table. We spend a lot of time consulting with people and talking about their roof, what they like about it, what they don't like about it, you know, problems they've had over the years. We get in the attic, and that's a big one. It's not always fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't
We get in
sound
the
good.
attic and look at the underside, the decking of the roof, to see if there's any wood rot or any problems they might not be aware of. And then, you know, getting up and just coming up with a scope of work that works for that client, you know.
Another fear that I have, and I think a lot of homeowners have, is, okay, we're getting a new roof and we have these sort of random people on our roof, and it's a dangerous job. Roofing is dangerous, maybe one of the most dangerous jobs out there. And, you know, what happens if someone falls and they get injured, they're killed, whatever? Does that fall back on me as the homeowner? How do you control your subcontractors? The immigration type stuff. I mean, people are wondering who's on their roof. Do you think that, or how important is it that you know the people that you work with?
Oh, it's very important. I mean, the labor pool out there could be sold up to the lowest bidder to serve a contractor's needs. So we've been doing this for 30 years. I mean, the majority of our stuff is all in-house and covered under our workmanship, our liability. There is no liability to the homeowner. So it takes that fear right off of it, because that's a very common question. I mean, you're going to have workers and subcontractors and things like that visiting your home and being on top of it. You just want to make sure that they're doing the right steps. And after 30 years of doing this, there's no detail we haven't executed perfectly.
One thing that I've noticed lately in my own personal life, where I'm in this townhome temporarily, and they're doing all the roofs everywhere, and it is an absolute disaster. And I liken it to when you move. Let's say you move from house to house, and you're like, oh, moving stinks, and you move all the dressers and the beds, you're done with that, and you're like, well, it wasn't so bad. And then it's all the little things. That's what really bogs you down, is all the little things in the move, the stuff in the drawers. And any construction job or a roofing job, you get the new tiles up there, but then a lot of roofing companies don't care about the cleanup. And the cleanup is kind of a big part of it.
Yeah, that's one of the things I take pride in the most with our company is we clean as we go. We tarp the property. Things like pool pumps and the AC compressor, all the things that are outside, we're working with gravity here. Things are coming down and they're gonna land on things. And so our crews are sort of a well-oiled machine where, there's people tearing off and cleaning up as it goes, getting everything to the dumpster. And then certainly when we're finished, the place is nicer than when we showed up. And we roll the yard with magnetic bars. We make sure we get all those nails. And then we also coach the homeowner on what to expect when we do a project like this and how to prepare for it, where to park their car, how to prepare their landscaping for it, all that kind of stuff as well. So,
And lastly, what people are coming into my office about is they're saying, Justin, I hired this roofing company 9 months ago. It's still not done. And I think that your business with some of your competition, maybe it's an over-promise, under-deliver type scenario. What do you tell these people when you first walk in? When they talk about time frames and price, what do you tell them?
We do too much volume to beat around the bush or to set expectations that aren't realistic. The good thing about being Universal Roofing Contracting is we do have one of the strongest allocations of material in the market. It is not a complicated process for us to retain your material, our crew, our labor, all of that. So when we give a time frame, it's pretty much we kind of do the opposite of that. We'd like to under-promise a little bit, but over-deliver, just to make sure we're hitting all those marks that we've promised people, and we have no problem doing it.
I love it. Justin, Corey, Noe, Universal Roofing Contract. You guys do a great job. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thanks for
Do
having
yourself a favor, please. Any sort of roofing issues, I trust these guys. So should you. 321-282-1055. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, immigration. We hear about it all the time on Fox News. People visit the border, whatever. What is the real status of immigration in this country? It's a question that I don't think a lot of us know the answer to. We will answer that after this very quick break, as Behind the Law continues. Does student loan debt have you spinning out of control? You are not helpless. At Attorneys Justin Clark & Associates, our goal is to lower or even eliminate your monthly payments. Call me today or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life. You always hear all this talk about how going solar will lower your electricity bill, but your windows might be more important than solar. You have old windows, your electricity bill is going to skyrocket when you replace the windows. Guess what? It comes way down. There's one place to call when it comes to new windows, and that is Renewal by Anderson. Dan Brigman is here. Dan, always a pleasure. You're family to us. But at Renewal by Anderson, you treat your customers like family as well.
We really do, and it's really all about, we're just passionate, Justin, about improving the place that homeowners like yourself and our listeners live. Yeah. And it's important to us, and it's our #1 motto.
How do I know, though, it's time to call you to see about replacing my windows?
Well, that's a great question. I've always said we don't wake up every morning and do a window inspection, right? We're usually getting ready and getting the kids off to work, but really you got to look for key things. You got to look for windows that are leaking. You've got to look for air infiltration, that you can feel things coming around. You got to look for seal failure. That's when, and I'm not talking about decorations for Christmas. I'm talking about the foggy, right? And so, and you got single pane, and of course the big one, high energy bills.
It's huge. It makes a big difference. And when you think about no down payment, no payments for sometimes 18 months, low interest rates, there are times where getting new windows can actually be free when you compare it to the cost that you're saving on your electricity bill.
Almost more times than not.
Yeah.
And it's really like this. I mean, if you take the whole house and you take every window and line it up, that's a wall and a half of pure glass all around your house. So think about it. You got bad windows or a single pane, you're paying your energy company to heat the outside of your house. And you're right. By the time you do the investment in our promotions, they pay for themselves in 10 to 15 years' time.
Dan, always a pleasure to see you, buddy. Keep up the great work and do yourself a favor. Call Renewal by Anderson today. Free consultation. You won't regret it. Do IRS threats have you spinning out of control? You are not helpless. At Attorneys Justin Clark & Associates, our goal is to lower or even eliminate your IRS debt. Call me today or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life. Welcome back to the show. Very political climate we live in right now, obviously. I know the president was just at the border. We hear about immigration all the time. People feel very passionately one way or another about that. But what is going on in this country immigration-wise? How can you get here legally? How can you stay here legally? What can you do to get kicked out of this country? And look, Central Florida is becoming a real melting pot of different cultures, people from different countries. And I think it's important that you and I together learn a little bit about what is going on immigration-wise in this country. Now, for the first time, immigration attorney, we have a lot of mutual friends, but it's the first time we met, right?
It is, I believe so, yeah.
Nayef Mubarak.
Great.
How did I do?
You did wonderful.
I was nervous. I was like shaking, actually, because I was afraid I was going to mess
Flying
that up.
colors, I promise.
I was going to make Michaela introduce you, but I was like, I'll take it.
No, you did great. Thank you.
Great immigration attorney, worked at some great firms here. A lot of lawyers I know that refer business to you. That's why I wanted to have you on here. It may be too general of a question, but what is going on with immigration in this country?
I will start off with saying this, that
Okay.
it is extremely polarized and politicized. However, it's always interesting to me when clients call saying, hey, I have somebody who I need to help. It's my neighbor. You know, they're not these guys coming from the border I want to help. And when you explain to them the process, they're like, why is it so hard? So I think the biggest thing is people misunderstand our immigration system, and to actually become legal there's so many steps and so many hurdles. So you have, every time the president changes, executive orders start flying off the desks and policies change within, the next day. So immigration is constantly swinging back and forth based on the parties.
How difficult is it right now to become a citizen of the United States, as we sit here today, versus say 5 years ago or 10 years ago?
The laws haven't changed too much. There's an insane amount of backlog due to COVID and due to the changes in administration. But to become a citizen, the first step is becoming a permanent resident or green card holder. And that is the biggest hurdle that most people face. Once you get to that step, becoming a citizen is fairly straightforward. But getting that permanent residency, that right to live here, is the hardest thing. And that can come through a family sponsorship, employment, or investment.
Right. And again, I'm not trying, this is not a political show. This is broadcast television, I say, and usually the radio show might get a little more political at times, but I'm not choosing sides here. I'm really not. But it is important to me. I'm a human with a heart, and I do understand the fact that there are families here, families right here in Central Florida who, maybe it's someone my age and has 2 young children who he loves, he adores, but he's not here legally. I mean, this is traumatic for people, especially people that are here that have maybe 2 kids and they're about to get kicked out of this country. I mean, this is important stuff. What do I do in that situation? If I got here and I'm not here legally, what can I do?
Right, so for people who are facing possible removal, that's actually what deportation is called now, is removal proceedings, is the best thing to do is document the amount of time here. Consult with an attorney, learn what your options are. There's very few relief for people who do have U.S. citizen children here, but if you have 10 years physical presence, no aggregate criminal history, you pay taxes, you do all these other things, then you might have relief from removal. However, you have to prove unusual and exceptional circumstances, meaning just being ripped apart from your child, that's not enough. Case law literally says family separation is not sufficient to meet this standard. So it's really important that people do understand their rights, because sometimes they go to a notarial, like, oh, I just need a work permit, I want to get a driver's license, and they'll fill out an application that might land them in deportation in front of an immigration judge.
Wow.
So for people who are undocumented, it is very scary. I always tell them, do not drive without a license. It's the fastest way to get picked up. Know your rights, because there's so many things out there, and many of them contribute taxes, but they're not entitled to returns. So there's just a lot of misconceptions out there. But then we also have scientists and stuff coming through immigration. So
let's say that I'm not here legally. Can I still get a driver's license?
not in Florida.
Okay.
No.
What,
So-
some states you can?
Well, now with the Real ID Act slowly becoming implemented in most states, that you have to show some kind of documentation. So you have to show that you are either in the process of immigration or you have some kind of status here to get a driver's license.
Let's say, for instance, Michaela is here illegally, okay, and she's driving down in her Corvette, tinted windows, like overly
Nice car.
tinted, just blasting rap music, okay, and they pull her over because her tint is too dark.
Right.
The officer comes over, where's your license? I don't have one. I'm not here legally. What happens?
So again, lawyer answer, it depends. Which county we're in, which state we're in. If you remember back a few years ago under the previous administration, there was this whole sanctuary city debate. What's a sanctuary city and what's not? And basically what that meant was local law enforcement communicating to the federal agents officials. So it really depends on which agency. Oftentimes now, if you don't have a valid driver's license, especially in Florida, they can arrest you. And when you are taken into custody, that's when immigration will get dinged, and then you'll end up in removal.
You know, it's one of those things where if you someone owes you $400, I'll often say, look, just go down to the courthouse and do a small claims case yourself. Let me tell you something. If you or a family member are going through any sort of immigration issue, this is not something you want to do on your own. Don't even call me. I wouldn't even tell you where to go. I would tell you to call Nayef, of course. But these are not things you want to do on your own. I will hook you up with them immediately. 321-282-1055. Like most other things in life, though, it seems to me, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, if you want to get to the United States of America and you have a lot of dough, it's a little bit easier.
Right. So we do have what's called the $1 million visa. It's the EB-5, which you can invest $1,050,000 into the U.S., create 10 full-time jobs, and then you would receive residency here. This was job creation. This program originated in the 90s, went away, came back March of 2022. It used to be $500,000 and $1 million. The amounts are now $800,000 and $1,050,000. So it is to incentivize those to invest in our country and help create jobs for American workers.
Right.
So that's because that's sometimes is always the big political debate. Are they taking American workers' jobs, right? And right here, we're seeing in today's climate, nobody's working, right? We need people to actually work with authorization, and there seems to be a whole population that could probably cause a solution or help us with that. But you know, there's a lot of safeguards in place to help our government and our country from losing jobs for American workers.
So how does it work? So let's say that I live in, I don't know, Costa Rica, something like that, and I want to become an American citizen, and I've got $2 million in the bank. Do I just call up President Biden and say, yo, I'm gonna send $1 million over, and I get right in? Or how does it work really logistically?
Well, I think if you have the direct line to the president, you might have other options.
Yeah, no kidding.
But typically, so there's two options with the investment with the $1 million. What you can do, what's called a regional center. Regional centers are large government projects. You give them money as a loan, they create it. You see this Amazon logistic warehouses, Walmart, Marriott hotels. They do these in underemployed areas to help stimulate the economy there. And the foreigners give that money as a loan, or you can invest $1,050,000 in any of your own enterprise anywhere located, but you have to create 10 full-time jobs. The money must remain there and the jobs must remain in the actual entity for at least 2 years in order to obtain the permanent residency status. So that's like the most direct path to getting the green card if you have that kind of money.
Let's say I come over from Argentina, okay, and I come here to Disney World. I'm like, wow, Orlando is pretty awesome. You know, great restaurants now, and I'm going to stay. I don't really have a job back in Argentina. I'm going to stay there for a while. How long can you stay here before you've got to like fly back or do this whole fly back and forth thing?
So actually, I bought the domain that says "Don't just visit, stay."
Oh, really?
And a lot of people
We did not tee that up. I promise.
I swear it's true. I haven't used it. So people come here often, and they do love Orlando. Orlando is very diverse. It's clean. It's a great place to be to raise families. So there are options. If you entered legally on a tourist visa, for example, then you could change status to a student if you wanted to study. If you had that kind of money ready to go, we could adjust your status through EB-5. That's one of the new changes that happened in March. So there's a lot of different options. Now, people who come from Europe without a visa, they have no right to change status or an extension because they are just coming here through the visa waiver program.
Right.
So again, kind of case by case and depends on where you're coming from. But there's a lot of options, especially if we start early on, to try to create a case plan.
A lot of things case by case, it seems like, in immigration. Thank you for helping the people of Central Florida. Nayef Mubarak, is awesome to meet you. Thanks for coming in.
Likewise.
We'll do this again for sure.
Yeah, I've enjoyed
really,
it.
really good information. And you don't know, this is just stuff you don't know. You don't know how to do it yourself. Excellent job. Any questions for him about immigration? The phone number's on the screen, 321-282-1055. A last quick break. When we return for the first time this year, we come back with What Did We Learn? Does student loan debt have you spinning out of control? You are not helpless. At Attorneys Justin Clark and Associates, our goal is to lower or even eliminate your monthly payments. Call me today or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life. We have had not one hurricane, but 2 hurricanes over the last month and a week. You have roof problems. At the end of the day, you've seen some leaking in your roof, and it makes you very scared as a homeowner. This is your most valuable asset. What do you do? I'll tell you what to do. You call Universal Roof and Contracting. Our good buddies are here. I called you Nick the first time, and we still make fun of me for it. Corey is here.
I'm Corey.
And Justin, who
Good to meet you.
Yeah. Forget that one, yeah.
Universal Roof and Contracting. Look, we have a lot of people coming down here right now. I call them hurricane or storm chasers.
Right.
They are not trustworthy when it comes to doing your roof. Universal's been around for a long time, veteran owned. Why do I trust Universal?
Well, just that. I mean, 30 years. We're veteran owned, family owned. We are right here, just a couple of miles down the road. Also, Jacksonville and over on the West Coast as well. And we're just serving the community. And we're licensed, we're insured, we're platinum certified contractors with Owens Corning, and we will give you an honest assessment of what's going on. If you have damage, if you don't have damage, if you've got life left on the roof, or if you need a new roof, we'll help you get taken care of.
Yeah, when I think Universal, I think family, I think veteran owned. You gave a veteran a roof the other day.
Yeah, it's an awesome project we're involved in every single year at this time. We build it up several months in advance, and on Veterans Day, we do a live show, and we get to announce that winner and donate an entire roofing system free of charge to that veteran in need. So it's a wonderful project. We just got done wrapping that up.
How do I know it's time to call?
Well, I mean, right now, because of the storm, it's important to just get your roof inspected. You don't know what's going on. Obviously, if you're seeing brown spots in the ceiling, if you're seeing shingles in the yard, if you're looking across the street and seeing your neighbor's yard or your neighbor's roof that's damaged, there's a good chance yours has got some problems as well. So we'll come out and do a free inspection, no cost to you.
I'm sure you guys have plenty of to-do right now. A lot of calls coming in, but you're going to be there in one day. Corey, Justin, always a pleasure to see you.
Always.
If you've noticed anything after the storm with your roof, call Universal Roof and Contracting today, the only place we call when it comes to roofing. Do IRS threats have you spinning out of control? You are not helpless. At Attorneys Justin Clark and Associates, our goal is to lower or even eliminate your IRS debt. Call me today or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life. As always, we wrap it up with what did we learn? First show of the year, season 10. Pretty excited. You? It's gonna be a great year.
It was great.
A lot of great information. I'm very happy to do this show because I think it really does benefit the people at home.
It
And you're doing a
benefits
great
me
job.
too. I learned a lot.
Yeah, it benefits you as well. But what did we learn? What did you learn?
I learned a lot about immigration, and how the removal process works and the $1 million visa. That's kind of interesting. Didn't know that was a thing.
It is. And, immigration is very, very scary, no doubt about that. I learned that choosing a roofing company is super important. And I've learned that over the last year because so many clients are coming into my office trying to sue their roofing company because they're all hiring the wrong one. It's kind of ridiculous. But I also learned that everyone believes immigration is super political right now, and it is.
Yeah, no, it definitely
That's
is.
crazy. So a whole season ahead. Are you ready to do this? You're not
I
going to quit on me,
am.
are you?
No,
the people
never.
at home need you.
Of course.
Awesome. Michaela Nichols, wonderful work as always. Our amazing crew, great job. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week for more Behind the Law. I'm attorney Justin Clark. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your life.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement. The views expressed were the sole responsibility of the advertiser.